Clash of Clans podcast, OG, episode 44. And welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I am your host, Scotty 827, joined by this week's guest co-host, Shane WJJ. Welcome to the podcast.
All right, glad to be here. Thank you.
How's it going, man?
It's going well.
We were just chatting it up beforehand. I was thinking about the best way to introduce you, really, since we started talking about it. And so Shane is somebody who, when the podcast came back, he was one of the people that I really want to talk to, was like on one of the lists of like the people that I have to have on the podcast to talk about the House of L and the history of the House of L. Because if you're new to the podcast, or if you're out there listening, and you've probably heard this, if you've listened, you know the House of L is the clan that we started back in the day as a podcast clan, and that was in 2014, I believe, right? And it is now 2025, and there's a lot of history. I was away from Clash for a bunch of years, and after leading the House of L, and came back, and Shane took over in my absence, I believe. And so tonight is really about, in some ways, talking about Shane's return to the game, how you're finding like coming back into it, because it's been a while, right?
Yeah. I would log in here or there, but I would go months, without signing in. But I never truly uninstalled the game. I guess I couldn't truly completely walk away. But certainly I wasn't following it, and then that Super Troops came out, and all kinds of things. So I was very far behind when I did decide to really dig back into it.
And so you played until 2022, did you say?
Yeah, looking at my messages, it looks like it was somewhere later 2021, maybe early 2022.
Okay. And
so around that time period.
So when I left, and this is kind of like here's a recap of the podcast. As I got back into the game, Mur and D-Max were in the House of L, and went over to L Relaxed, and then back to House of L, and there were all these sleepy giants, these sleepy legends. The clan had gone quiet, and even the clan capital, I just, the image is kind of cool, because it hadn't really started, or maybe just the start of it. And so it was like so much to rebuild, and I hadn't really seen that part of the game. And so kind of got to see that. But ever since then, I've been really curious about kind of what happened, or just kind of, and since Shane has also been leader of House of L, I'm really kind of curious to talk about kind of leadership too, and things like that. Because I know other clans have kind of reached out and stuff like that. So I think it'd be kind of an interesting topic. So I guess, where do you want to start, Shane? Should we? When need to get started in the game? Let's start at the beginning. What makes Shane WJJ tick?
Well, the beginning of my Clash history, I started playing the game
when you were a baby Clasher.
A baby Clasher, yeah, trying to unlock dragons for the first time. I was talking about that earlier today with Burr. It was about 2015, so you may have been in the House of L at that time, but I wasn't. I was, searching the global chat, trying to find a clan to join, and bounce back and forth between 2 or 3 clans. One of them got banned for an inappropriate clan name, which was kind of interesting. The clan was there for like 3 months, and then boom, it wasn't.
And they found it.
Yeah. But yeah, I discovered the Supercell forum for Clash of Clans, and yeah, people had their recruiting messages on there. This is back in 2015, and yeah, found a clan that was ran by a guy in the UK called Brothers United. It was there for about a year, and it didn't really have a lot of interest in being a co-leader. I just wanted a clan where my clan castle was full, and was able to
Yeah.
chat with people and
The
do my
troops are
thing. And
fed. The troops are fed. The
yeah,
stables are
but
full.
exactly. And yeah, he was in the UK, so he was about 6 or 7 hours ahead of me. So it just kind of worked out where he was asking for help, and kind of got promoted to co-leader, and I was the leader on staff, if you will, while he was asleep.
You were the
For
duty watch, the watch officer.
yes, I was the officer in charge on the East Coast, essentially.
Very nice.
Uh, and that was the kind of, I'd say, my first experience with finding a community in the game there. We had a good core group of people, probably 7 or 8 of us all together. That was real, the strong core of the group. And yeah, that clan over the years started to dwindle down. So remember, then we started going out to the forums again and trying to find another clan, the merge into ours or the merge into theirs.
Yeah.
And there was one, I think, Heroes Land, if anybody listens to this, that used to play with me in that clan. We were there for a period of time.
It was called
Uh,
what? Heroes Land?
Heroes Land. I'm not sure if they're still there anymore,
Okay.
but we were there for a little while. And that's when I started, I don't know if this guy still plays or not, but Jake from One Hive, if you
Oh
ever,
yeah. Yep.
so I used to watch all of his videos. So I found his YouTube channel and just watched it all, almost religiously, trying to figure out how to
Go
do
wipe.
Mass Dragons at Town Hall 7, how to do, Hogs at Town
Go
Hall 8.
go wee wee go wipe.
Yep, go wee wee, go wipe, go
I
ho.
I just yesterday was putting up the old episodes. I found the missing ones.
Yeah,
And a bunch of them were the ones with Jake from One Hive and Boaz, the Warlog episodes where they were talking.
okay.
And so I just saw the episode description and they were talking about those strategies. I think it was like go wipe and go woo, go loo, um, go
There was go
loo.
wee wee, go wipe.
It was like
Some people
it
call it, peck a smash and
was like a go woo, go loo. Oh, I can't remember. I can't remember
go
what it was,
Walloon.
but yeah, it was something like that. Some
Go
names I
go
hadn't.
Walloon was my favorite attack through like Town Hall 8, Town Hall 9.
What was that one?
So that
Go,
was you basically you dropped a couple of golems and you would kind of spread it out across like one side of the base. And then you shrink ones and wizards to create the funnel there. The golems basically just walk up, start banging on a wall. Because everybody had their defenses inside the walls for the most part.
yeah.
And then you place the jump, and then you do like a Sui hero or hero dive, jump the heroes with the golems and a rage. And that would just we jump into the core and kind of shell out the base. And then you were left with kind of like a horseshoe or a C shape of perimeter defenses. And then
Wow.
basically you sent in your lava loons with followed by loons and like 4 or 5 haste spells and just nuked everything that was left.
It's. Do you think it would work now?
No, because I tried it.
Did you?
Yeah, that was one of the first things I tried. I was like, oh, that didn't work. Let's try Mass Dragons.
I
There's
bet
just
you.
too much splash damage now. The balloons go down too easy.
I bet you're. I bet you did like I did and started off with your war army from when you were retired a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I started. I came back and I was. It was golem healer, something way outdated. Way outdated.
Like Mass Witches was still a real popular attack when I had left, or versions of it. Go wee wee, it's golems, witches, and wizards.
Makes you wonder how well we do going back in time. You know what I mean? To
Yeah, I
play.
actually I used to record some of my attacks. So on my YouTube channel, I have attacks from like 2015, 2016 saved on there.
Do
where it was
you?
like, yeah, because I was watching Jake from One Hive, so I
Oh
wanted to
yeah, yeah.
get I wanted to get into the competitive scene, from there. So I started practicing the attacks that he was showing and looking into the One Hive clan family. And at that point, there was One Hive 2.0. I don't even know if these clans are still around anymore.
When I
But
prime, right? That was
One
one?
Hive Prime started, I think, as a feeder to one of the other One Hive clans because there was One Hive and One Hive 2.0, and I think they split at one point. Yeah, it was the feeder clan and the main clan. But the segment of of the clan family or the branch that I ended up joining was One Hive Genesis. So
Okay.
I tried out for their clan, and their feeder clan at the time was One Hive Alpha. And going through my bookmarks, I think that clan is completely gone now. But they had basically a trial. You applied and you go through a couple trial wars, and then if they liked your performances there, they would move you up to One Hive Genesis either at a temporary basis or permanent basis based on what their needs were. And I was a Town Hall 9. I think Town Hall 11 may have been fairly new at that point.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is all coming back to me as I'm
Yeah. So
like the
I was never a
structure.
max base. Well, I was max, but I wasn't the max Town Hall. I always tried to stay like one Town Hall lower
Okay.
just because it seemed like the balance was a little better, like, especially in Town Hall 9, like when 10 was the max.
Yeah.
You could triple with like 3 or 4 different strategies, in Town Hall 9, depending on the base layout. But Town Hall 10, it was like next to impossible to get a triple, when it
Well,
first came out.
and the weird thing about the Town Hall 10 scene, I think, if I'm remembering right, because it's just like as we start talking about this, I'm like my memory's getting dusted off. It's like starting to like piece back together. Um, but when you were TH10 and 9 was out, it was like you were the dirty stepchild. Do you know what I mean? Like the 10 would be like the tournaments were the nines. That was like you were, it kind of seemed like nines were where like the competition and like most of the, yeah, like the real competitive play seemed to be at nines. Am I remembering that right?
No, I think you're dead on. So I stayed kind of all 9 for, max walls, max everything for, probably a year. I mean, it was a long time because I was just doing these competitive league, CWL, the I guess you call it the non Supercell CWL, the original CWL, the Champions War
Yeah.
League.
Yeah. 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 Like, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Cause it was like Town Hall 10s were you weren't expected to three, or it was really hard to three, and so you were basically like, what's the go in and smash the get the two, to
Yep.
take care of it. But if you really wanted to play and talk about balance and like craft and great attacking, it was like you had to have a max TH9. I mean,
But that
people.
was a big strategy, at least when I was at One Hive, they would have like, there might be 10, 12 Town Hall 9s on the war and, a half dozen Town Hall 10s or 11s at that point. But they would have the bottom, the lower weight Town Hall 9s try to double, 2-star the 11s or the 10s. Then
Yeah.
have the higher, the better hitting 9s, triple 9s, and then, the top guys would drop down to clean anything that was left. And
and then
that
the
was a big strategy.
And then those nines would be the ones that would match other clans in war, right? Like for like arranged matchups, it was the
Well, yeah, I mean,
nines
it
that
was
got matched.
if your nines messed up, you lost the war. That's what kept me at Town Hall 9 because it seemed like it was such
High
a
pressure environment.
more important role. If
Yeah.
Town Hall 9s didn't make it, it didn't really matter what your 10s or 11s did because they would all have to drop downs with all of their attacks.
It's like this is flashbacks. Yeah, it's crazy
So
because we were talking about even before for everybody out there, it is like -5 degrees in Minnesota. right now, and it reminds me of these. When I think about being this cold, it reminds me of recording with Boaz back in the day and having these conversations about this, and so it's all coming back. It's a good memory.
Yeah, but yeah,
And
Toho, Go La Loon, the other one that I really like to do at Town Hall 9, and I only remember this because I have a YouTube video with the name and the title, but the Grundinator, and I cannot remember where that name
oh,
came from, but I loved that attack as well. That was kind of the ground attack.
what was that?
So the Grundinator was basically you would start with a queen walk to create a funnel on one side of the one corner of the base. You'd use a baby dragon with some wizards to create a funnel on the opposite corner on the same side. And then
Okay.
you would jump Rage in a P.E.K.K.A. and like 8 to 10 Valks and your king into the core. And then you would follow it up with like a half dozen to 8 ballers. And then they
Uh,
would crush into the base. And then you would take at least one skeleton spell for the end because there would always be like one little small compartment on the backside of the base that would just have like an archer tower, just nailing your king. So you would take the skeleton spell and drop it on the archer tower or that cannon, whatever it was, to distract it. So your king or your Valks or whatever you had left could still get to it. Or your
oh,
queen if she would wrap around, protect the queen.
it's almost like I'm seeing a YouTube thumbnail in my brain. Like I'm trying to connect the dots of where
Oh,
that.
I'm sure there's YouTube videos out there. I didn't make it up.
No, 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 no. No, I believe you because what I was like, I remember. It was like those back in the day. It was like those the name of those attacks, right? Like,
Yep.
and they would always come from somewhere. And that one, it was kind of one of those metas. I think that was around more towards right before I took a break. But it's like it's one of those memories that's like right on the tip of my tongue, I guess, or tip of my brain.
Yep. So I don't know if
Um,
there was a player called Grundy or where that came from. I mean, people, it was a CWL attack. I mean, it
I
was being
I
used
bet somebody in the
everywhere.
chat will know it. I bet we'll
Probably.
have knowledge of it by next week.
Well, those were basically my two strategies I would use to get a six pack at every war. Is if it was a ground base, it didn't look good for air, Grundinator would take it out. If it didn't look too good for Grundinator, they had their air defenses, kind of clumped together, and I'd go La Loon. It's like between those two strategies, for me, I was able to get a lot of six packs almost every war. But there was a lot more. You could use witches, and
That
there's
was and that
Go
was in
Bajo was
one
another one.
hive Genesis.
Yeah, those most of those attacks, I learned a lot of those, in One Hive Alpha and One Hive Genesis.
Yeah, more of this. It's okay. All of this
So,
stuff is coming
so I
back.
remember that I uniquely remember now in the chat talking to somebody and like, oh, you got to do the Grundinator. It's like, what is that? And they're like, they pointed to a YouTube video and I watched that. But another popular one was Go Bajo, Golems, Valks, and
Yeah,
Hogs.
yeah, yeah. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's that one I was reading before. It was some.
So,
Yeah,
so that one was similar, but you didn't have the Queen Walk or the Queen Charge. So you would send in golems and valks and your king in the middle, and then you would follow up with hogs on the backside. So very similar to a go out loons, if you got hogs instead of loons.
oh, the name I haven't heard since. I'm just thinking of the Star Wars. So it's okay. So you're in Genesis. Were you YouTubing too at the time, or was that?
So
Uh,
I wasn't doing like YouTube videos for a lot of people to watch. It was more so I just recording the attacks that I cherry pick my good attacks, of course, put them on
y-
YouTube. And
y-
when I was trying out the One Hive Alpha, I submitted those videos like, here, like, these are some attacks I've done. So it's
this
kind of like my
your
class
compilation.
portfolio. Yeah.
You know what? As you're saying this, I totally remember this when you were coming into House of L. Um, you were sharing some of those, but I remember you saying that now that you're not really putting them out there, right? I,
Yeah, I mean, I would send the link. Like, it wasn't like a private YouTube
yeah,
channel, but like I
yeah.
wasn't advertising it other than like clan mates. I'm like, oh, you want to learn this attack? I have it here.
Yeah,
But
I remember you doing that.
there's great videos out there of people that are narrating on. Mine was just like, I hit screen record on my phone and just uploaded it. So
Yeah, it's just like it's all coming back to me. Okay, cool. And so and that must have been about the time. What brought you from Genesis to L, or did you go to L2 first?
no, I went straight to House of L. So I was in Genesis for a period of time. I can't recall how long, but I love the competitive scene. Yeah, I had a mini account that was still in my previous clan, Brothers United. So was still in contact with those guys. Like I mentioned, there's about a half dozen of us that were pretty close. And I just never felt that same connection with those one hot guys. It reminded me of, I've worked at a couple like Fortune 500 companies, and they're like, very cutthroat culture.
Yeah.
And, as long as you're a 3-star and, you were awesome. But, there was very little forgiveness if you went out there and got a 1-star. So
Yeah. But
I just never felt that, camaraderie with those guys for the most part. Not that, I mean, there was a couple of guys I became friends with, but
yeah,
it never felt like home. It always felt like I was visiting, if you will.
yeah. And some people they might love that, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
So I ended up leaving and then going back to Brothers United, and which that clan was still struggling with members. It was probably 12, 15 members, something like that. And went back onto the forums, and I actually found a recruitment forum for House of L, and it piqued my interest. They said that they had a main clan. I'm not sure if they described it as a feeder clan, but a second clan in House of L2. Uh, L Reloaded was also another clan that helped feed the main clan. And then they had a very chill clan, L Relax, where things are,
yeah.
well, just that, relaxed. And was talking about that with the rest of the leaders of Brothers United, and sort of arranged for a temporary merger where we came on board with House of L, did some wars. And then,
Yeah.
not everybody in the clan merged, but we eventually did a merger into House of L, brought over about a dozen different members. Some of those stuck around for a while, some of them didn't. But that was kind of how I discovered L. Unfortunately, I wish I could say it was for your podcast, but I
No,
didn't
no,
know.
that's all right. No, no. Because well, and at the and then that's always fine too, right? But there was a lot of people at the time because we were warring with other clans and against other clans where we'd get seen other places too. Which brought in a lot of um different people, which is cool. Did you come in as a 9 then?
Yeah, I came in as a 9 still, and then brought in Town Hall 11s and 10s, a handful of 9s with me. I think Bama. I'm not sure if you were still there at the time. I'm pretty sure the leader then was Bama Jarhead, if that name rings a bell.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So Bama was the leader.
I've been instructed to
Fog the
say
Longhorn,
I've
and
been instructed to say Bama. I've been
Bama
in,
for Alabama.
yeah, and I just Phantom told me that, and I said I've been doing it wrong for years. So,
So a lot. So talked to him a lot. When we did the merger into House of L, and then there were a lot of players there that were Town Hall 10, Town Hall 11. Uh, there was one guy's name, I cannot recall his name, but he called it fireside chats. He was kind of doing his own little podcast, but just within the clan. He was a
what
Town Hall 11.
was in House of L?
It was in House of L. He was there before I was there.
God,
I
it's
can't
all
remember.
gonna
I can't
come
I'll
back
have to
to
go
me.
digging through Discord, but I never did that with him, but he did do that with a lot of the guys in the clan.
Yeah.
That was kind of it was a
So,
throwback to you. It was yeah, his way of doing that. I wish I could remember his name now.
so you must have come in a little bit more after I was there.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I came in after you were already gone.
Okay. And how'd you get involved in the Discord?
So over the years before L, we were Clash of Clans have always had the issue where you can't tag people, which they've changed that since I've come back too. But
Yeah. Oh
you
yeah,
put it
that's so freaking
that's like the
nice.
best thing they've ever done is add that ability to tag somebody and send them a push
Yeah.
notification. Because
Yeah.
the only way to do that was to send the clan mail, and then there was like the clan mail timeout or whatever,
Yeah, and you'd have
the
yeah.
cooldown.
The pin messages in reactions are awesome too for that.
Yeah, so there were, I can't remember some of the apps that we had used, but we tried a Facebook group. Uh, there was some
We
green app. I can't remember what that one
we
was.
Line.
Yeah,
There
we
was
did Line.
Line,
Line. Yeah, I used Line with
TeamSpeak.
OneHive. OneHive was real big with Line, so I would use that for a while. I think that had some limitations as like the number of people that could be in a group or.
um TeamSpeak. And there was another one because I was looking because as I was trying to find these old podcasts, I was like looking through all these pictures and stuff, and there would be these screenshots of um like one of the apps we use, and I was like, oh yeah, like I completely had forgotten about Line,
You
um,
know,
and Sketch, um,
yeah, Sketch was on my phone. I remember, because I think Sketch at one point got bought by iOS or Apple, and I was an Android user for years. I'm on iOS now, but like I had a backup copy of an Android. They call it an APK, like the actual application file.
okay, yeah, yep.
And we were like sharing that through Google Drive because you could do like a backdoor installation of Sketch because there was like nothing that good on Android anymore.
And Sketch was like, it was basically like markup for
Yeah,
your,
you just drew on there, and
but you,
One Eye Genesis had like a color code for stuff, which was really cool. It was like, if you had a yellow circle, it meant it was a heal. You know,
yep,
I can't recall if it was red or purple for rage. I think it was purple for rage, red for haste. They didn't
yep,
have a pink. It was
yeah.
this.
God, it doesn't seem like that long ago, but think about the tools. This was like what, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
And it was like the markup tool that we can use. But it was like the, the basic version of that where you're trying to, it's awesome because you can put an arrow in, or you can put a
Oh
circle
yeah.
on without a computer.
Yeah. You
Um,
drop the arrow and stretch it across the image of the base.
yeah. And yeah, I remember like starting to do it like where um, we wanted people to sketch their attack before they attacked. I
Oh
think
yeah. Like
because
that was the requirement with One Hive Genesis. Like they'd kick you out if you didn't post a sketch.
yeah, and, wow, wow.
But I'm sure on our Discord channel for House of Bell, there's probably a few hundred sketches that I've done. If the channels haven't been deleted, I don't know where they landed.
I
But
put all the old chats that I thought I backed up in there. Um, but I'll have to look. There was just a lot of
oh yeah, I
I
had set a
messed it
bunch
up.
of
I
we had a
messed
bunch
up
of stuff
some.
set up.
Yeah, and I didn't know what I was doing and deleted a category and things went all weird and I'm still learning the buttons
Yeah,
of these.
but I'm pretty sure my introduction to Discord was when I joined L because you've had the server that you had set up. 'Cause I didn't create the server. I'm pretty sure you did. Uh, or you were the server owner.
Yeah, I think
So
I might have set it up back in the day or
like, we moved off of Line, I'm pretty sure, and just migrated into Discord when we migrated into House of L. And I quickly, found the love for Discord because it, solved like all these problems that, Line had and these other apps. And, it's a little more anonymous than, Facebook. So a lot of people had a problem with joining a Facebook group,
yeah. Yeah, because
kind
you're
of
just kind of
doxing
like,
themselves.
yeah, 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 exactly. Um, and then you kind of reorganize it. When did you become leader of L?
So I don't know if I can pinpoint the exact date, but I would say it was probably sometime around 2017. It was when Bama retired. Or Bama.
Man,
I'm gonna keep
sorry,
on
sorry,
doing that.
everybody.
When Bama retired or quit, and I don't remember what circumstances was, but he kind of slowly. yeah, kind of fizzled out, if you will, with his activity. And when he decided to quit, he just posted an announcement on in game and on Discord that he was passing it on to me. Yeah, I had taken a strong interest in, getting the House of L, signed up for leagues, and I was trying to
Yeah.
get things done and, in Discord, trying to organize things there and trying to create, just raise the community up.
Yeah.
And, when, trying to expand on the competitive scene, but, at the same time, I didn't want to lose that, camaraderie or, brotherhood with the players that, because I didn't have that at One High Genesis. And I didn't want to just come turn One High or turn House of L into One High. That
It's a
wasn't my
weird
intention.
it's a weird line, isn't it?
It
Or it's
is.
a hard one to like navigate.
And I think that's probably ultimately what happened in 2021. If we flash forward to when I retired, but yeah, the leagues, I think, because we were participating in probably a half dozen different leagues at one point in time, and it was like you were doing like this, like, high pressure war, sometimes two, 3 times a week. It's a friendly war, so you could have like an hour of prep time.
Oh. So it's like you had to be there. It was like
Oh yeah, so like
being
it
on.
was. A lot of people were on. We used Discord voice a lot to, talk about plans, and there's a big group of us that would just jump on Discord voice, just, while somebody was attacking. That was always kind of fun because you could hear their live reactions. Like, oh shit, I didn't mean to.
Yeah. I was horrible to do things live. Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah, but yes,
If you ever
I
want to
had
hear
some.
disappointment in my voice, just come on to live.
Yeah,
And
but yeah, so Bob Majarhead was the leader. Wayward, if you remember him, he was. I'm pretty sure the guy that had posted
yeah, I do.
the recruiting message on the forum.
In fact, you saw Wayward come in to the clan, new Wayward, and it was like that's one of those moments where it's where all of a sudden there's a memory I hadn't thought about, and then accepted him or whoever accepted him. I think it was me, maybe. And then I'm like, I know the name, and yeah, and then we brought it up, Wayward or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah, I think I
sorry.
said like, is that wayward?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah,
wayward that I
Wayward.
know.
Can there be two? I was the same thing, and I think you asked, and I was like, okay, I'm glad it wasn't just me. I'm glad it wasn't just me.
No, no, he quit. He was still a Town Hall 9. He was one of those heavy Town Hall 9 hitters. He was pretty reliable, good guy. Yeah,
And, and what was like the war scene like at that time? I mean, like, what was the th? Was it 12, 13?
well, it was through that whole period. So 12 and 13 was released. During the time that I was leader of House of L. 14, I think, was probably around when I quit. I don't remember Town Hall 14 too much, or
Okay.
15 for that matter. But because my kid, when I think my Town Hall was still like Town Hall maybe 11 or 12 when I was signed back in, 5, 6 months ago. And then at that point, I was like, well, I'm not playing competitively. I'm not going to sit here max. So I just upgraded my Town Hall and just slowly was farming it, but didn't spend any time like researching the new troops. And I think super troops were like either just being introduced or it just came out when I was, kind of retired. So yeah, there's a dozen of those. Like I didn't know what any of those guys did. Like what's a super barbarian?
Yeah.
So
I so what? Uh, uh well, let me ask you this then. As you're talking about this, what I'm kind of thinking is, so, okay, I guess let me ask this. So what? So you get to that point. There's that war makeup. What? What point are you? Do you kind of burn out, or are you like, you know, life, or do you and you kind of said like it maybe got too serious at the end, and
I think towards the end it maybe got too serious. So like, our leader chat, I kind of gave a kind of a word of warning that way because a lot of the guys were talking about L being a little more competitive. which I think is a good thing, but it's definitely a, finding that fine line, because we were doing a lot of these player organized, leagues, and I went back and wrote a couple of these down. Just take a look at my note here.
Yeah.
MLCW was one that we participated in a lot. The AWL, the American War League,
Yep.
the FWL, the Friendly War League. We did that one a lot, and we did I think they had like a light, medium, and heavy league. I think we participated in all of them. And as we kind of dwindled down, we had to drop to the light league, which was just uh, like a 10-person war instead of a 30 or 40-person war. Because some of them were pretty big. I mean, most of them didn't get more than 20 to 30 people, but it was a lot. And we had the Google forms we would use for
Yeah.
signups, and we just didn't assume that everybody was ready. So there were signups ahead of time, and we would do signups for the entire league. Like, hey, this is what we want to do. They do wars every, I don't know, say Tuesday and Saturday.
Yeah.
If you sign up, you're saying you're available for the next 8 weeks for the length of the league every Tuesday and Saturday. So it was a big commitment from a pretty big
And
group of players, and
and
LDA
everybody
could.
was pretty much on board at first, or
Yeah, at first everybody was like, yeah, let's do this. It's fun. We had a blast doing it. Like I said, we'd be on Discord chat, you know, shoot, repping for each other,
yeah.
giving advice, doing sketches live,
Yeah.
but posting images. But it took the first season was probably all L. And then after that, we started collaborating with other clans, and a couple that come to mind. There's a clan called the Packers. After the football team,
Well, I'm a
but
Minnesotan, so we can't really talk about that. No, I'm just kidding.
well, there are a lot of Green Bay Packer fans that's helping now out. So
I'm on the border, so
yeah, but they helped us out. And then Crystal Warrior, and there was their leaders. Magnus was a good
yep.
friend of mine for a while. We haven't talked in a while now. I think he still plays Clash. I should reach out to him. But
And some of these
yeah,
names I know in other ways. Yeah. Okay.
so and then Crystal Warrior and Packers had alliances with clans that helped them out too. So it was like we had this network of like anywhere from 6 to 9 clans that kind of helped. I hate to use the word feed because they weren't like diehard L members, but they would come like and help us out. Like, oh, you need 2 Town Hall 10s for this league. These two guys will join your roster.
Yeah, you kind of need like, because I remember even like back in the day, it's like if you were doing an arranged matchup, certain clans were kind of maybe there was like a league standard, right? Like that you had to have, and somebody couldn't be in it, or they're. and
Yeah, you had to
and
have like a certain number, for backups. Like they
and then
wouldn't let you join if you had the exact roster. Like
yeah,
you had to have some backup players.
and then even like I remember, and this is maybe before that, but like some of the bigger level clans, or if you had a clan with a bigger level name, maybe they could basically say, "This is what we got if you can match us." Right? Like so you
Yeah.
couldn't, so it was like, well, normally we have 5 9s, but they've got 7, and that's it. That's all they're gonna roll with.
So basically, like most of the leagues, you had to like submit a master roster to the leagues, and they had
Oh, sweating.
anywhere from 2 to 6, like league administrators, if you will. So they would all manage the master rosters, and like no one was allowed to play in your war if they were not included on your master roster. And some leagues had the rules like they had to be in your clan for at least 30 days. And there were tools out there like Clash of Stats, and War Match was a big one that we used, where they could track
Oh,
things like that. So I'm pretty sure CWL in particular had a little more strict rules than some of the leagues like MLCW or FWL, as far as they had to be like members of your clan. That way you can have like, 2 or 3 like major clan, just be like, let's just consolidate our best players and create like an all-star team.
yeah. Because it's like
So
because that's kind of the history of clash the early days as well. That as you say that now, it's like it doesn't matter what rule there is, it somebody figures out a way to mess it up. Like you just wouldn't think, okay, that would be a big problem. But then it was like, but let's combine or let's do this. And it was like everybody always was trying to game the system. I mean, it's always,
Yep.
happening, but yeah, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, you had the master
That's other part of
roster.
history we talk about sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, but there were we used Google Sheets to pick out who was going to fight in each war or participate in each war, and then they had the war weights in there. So each clan leader or clan representative had to like make their best effort to try to equal it out. So like, and I can't remember the numbers, but like if you had 4 or 5 like max Town Hall 9s like L typically did, we'd have to throw in like a really new Town Hall 9 to kind of even it out. If the other clan didn't have as many max 9s or 10s,
Yeah.
whatever it happened to be, you tried to make it as fair as possible. But at the same time, if you don't have the correct mix in your master roster, it is what it is. I guess it's as fair as we can make it. It's not our fault you're not max.
Right,
So
right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
and
And that
then
was
if there was
that was
any
another demand at the time too that they wanted. It was like as the war weights were so much more. It, it mattered. It mattered so much more the level of defenses. I think.
yes. And it was I forget how you calculate it now, but it was basically like the amount of gold that was present when you got attacked or when they visit your base. And I remember getting, I was
Oh,
the league representative, and I would get chewed out if like one of our players like upgraded an expo and didn't tell me
because
because
that
like
would.
all it would jack up his war weight, and then the other clan is like, well, that's not fair because my guy didn't upgrade his expo, and he or
Yeah, because
or I could have upgraded an Inferno tower to even it out.
I think what happened was, God, wow, my brain is gonna just explode after this podcast. I'm telling you. I think what happened was is when war started, uh, when people started to figure out that when you attacked a base, it said loot available and available loot or whatever, but that certain things, and if I'm just kind of putting this together as what if I remember correct, people were starting to put together and over weeks and like eventually like months and years, I guess. Um, but that war weight number would be the thing, and that would base everything on matchmaking. There was no arranged matchups. There was nothing, and
Yeah, so
so you would take that number and divide it out, and it would matter if your expos were at this. You could calculate exactly. You'd have that number, right? Like the one big number, but then you would dial into those smaller numbers.
oh yeah, people figured out how to the recipe, if you will. People figured out how it was calculated for sure.
Yeah, you
But
had to
but even before
exact.
friendly wars, I mean, people had to like, you I think you mentioned it on a previous podcast, but you had your spreadsheets with your war weights and the clan you wanted to play against, and you both hit start at the same time. You'd wait 10, 20 minutes, and then you'd cancel.
And
Do it
you'd hope.
again. Oh,
You'd
and
hope.
you hoped you got matched. I mean, it was pretty successful. I mean, I
Yeah.
can probably count on one hand how many times we did not match with who we wanted to match with.
Yeah, you'd hear about people going, "Oh, they failed the match, so they're gonna have to wait because somebody."
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And then they released a friendly war, and then that's where you started negotiating your war weights because you're going to war no matter what with a friendly war. But
I just always imagine like a war room or something where people are just sitting around a table. No, we're gonna have to take a 44 here on the expo.
but yeah, arranging weekly matchups with each clan, I did that for several years, and then there were some individuals that helped out too. Give a shout out. Aussie did some. Uh, Blue Eyed Dragon. I'm not sure if he was around when you were still there. He was a big
Yeah.
help with the wars.
Yes, I know the name. And the rest will come back to.
Game of Jabronis or Jabronis.
Yep. Yep.
Mo
Yeah.
Killer,
Yep.
Mo.
Yep. He's in doing CWLs with us
And we had a
now.
warthog, and I'm not sure if the warthog that's
I
in our
believe it
clan
is.
now is the same warthog or not.
I believe it is. I think.
I'll have to reach out to him because we were pretty good friends for a while there on, chatting back and forth on Discord. He was one
Yeah.
of our big war captains, if you will,
Yeah. I think
in
what happened.
OHS, Shack
Oh,
Hensley.
Shaq Hennessy. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was just back and actually just went to war with his brother, I think. Um so yeah, I talked to him just a little while ago,
yeah,
actually.
and Dirty Pirate, he participated a lot too. We
Yep.
named him Secretary of Events at one point.
That is
And we
like the perfect name for Dirty Pirate.
Secretary of Events.
Besides sexy bastard. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we had like a leadership structure in there. We called it like president, vice president. So they had me listed as president. Blue Eyed Dragon was vice president. Like I said, Dirty Pirate was secretary of events. Foghorn was our czar of
Yeah.
clan games, for the
Oh,
clan
that's
games.
cool.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
and you had a constitution, which I thought
Yep.
was awesome.
Yeah.
It's
The
still
L
there. It should
Constitution.
still be there. Yeah, it should still be in the Discord for sure. I thought that was really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Aussie was our secretary of recruitment.
That's really cool. And what do you think was like, do you remember any like particular wars or like, is there anything that like stands out to you as like a highlight achievement? Like in a war or something like if, or like maybe a standout war?
We won the FWL championship several times. We, kind of like how the Kansas City Chiefs are going through for a three-peat right now. I'm pretty sure we went for a three-peat and we didn't make it, but we were back-to-back champions in or FWL Heavy League for
Holy
two
shit.
seasons in a row. It wasn't like 2 years in a row because they basically would do like a 20 or 30-day off season, but then they would kick the league back up. But we were
Cool.
the FWL champions twice in a row. We dominated that league for a while. That
That's
one
awesome.
didn't have as many restrictions on players, so we were able to pull in players from our network. We had to tell them who our network of clans were, like our total clan family as we called it. But that
That's
one was pretty
cool.
neat. So back to back champions was pretty cool.
That's cool. They give you like a belt or something? Because that sounds like something you need like a WWE style belt for.
No, but they did make and I'm sure they're posted in Discord somewhere. There was like they had some like graphic designers that made some neat banners, with the House of
Oh,
L shield on it.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, FWL champions.
That's awesome. I have to go digging for some of that stuff. So then,
Yeah.
like, so when's the point where you kind of are like, um, or what people kind of they just kind of fizzled out, like everybody got a little tired.
Yeah, I would say in 2021, certainly by the time 2022 rolled around.
People are sick of
Uh
being on their phones by that point. It
yeah, I
too,
mean,
right?
there wasn't interest to do the leagues anymore. We had the sign-ups and there wasn't enough people there. And then like the people that were still, like hardcore about it was upset that we couldn't pull rosters together and they decided to go, play with a different clan and then I had some life events happen. My dad actually played with me in House of L, for during that 4 year time frame, and he passed away in 2021, which
I'm sorry.
probably a big reason why I stepped away partially in when that happened. But he was leader of L Reloaded for years, and
What
he
was
had
his name?
the kid.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, so he led L Reloaded for, certainly from like 2019 to 2021, but he did a lot of the league wars with us too and House of L. And yeah, he was big in the recruiting for L. He was active on like Reddit and things, pulling people in. And we bonded a lot over the game over the years. And, a lot of people are like, oh, your dad plays. Are you a kid? I'm like, no, I'm, 30 years old.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
dad likes to play too. He's 60. So,
That's cool.
but yeah, we bonded over Clash of Clans, a lot over the years at L. So there's a lot of fond memories with my dad. Yeah, in L.
That's awesome. That's oh yeah, I remember him. Um, if you're thinking, as you keep as we're talking about this, where do you think the line is between burnout, fun, and competitive? That's a
So I would say definitely, if I'm not sure if these player organized leagues are even still a thing. I haven't looked into it. I'm sure CWL is probably still out there, but I would say certainly don't do no more than one league at a time. Like we were doing, like if one was in the off season, we were doing a different one. So it was like we were just nonstop in a league of some kind. So I think that's probably way overboard. It's certainly fun. I mean, we had a lot of fun doing it, but
yeah.
different players have, different tolerances for burnout, and we definitely had a lot of burnout.
What?
And there's a lot of clans that I'm sure they still do that. And I don't know if they just have like, a bigger player base to pull from where they can pull players in and out, but it definitely wears on you when you're doing those competitive wars,
Well,
essentially all the time.
even you get done with CWL, I'm exhausted by the end of CWL. I
That's
mean,
7 days long too. So that's a little different, and it's one day. So like we did that on occasion. I think you could be in a friendly war at the same time.
yep,
'Cause
yeah.
I listened to one of the earlier podcasts when you came back. I was listening to like the first. I think I got through the first six or seven. But you mentioned that we were in. I think it was Masters or Champions too. I can't recall which league, but we were up there
I
pretty
got,
high,
I
and you guys
screenshotted
were.
it. I tried to just before disturbing anything. I just tried
Yeah.
to. It was like,
So
oh, the last war was like 1,000 days ago, or 600 days ago, or it was something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
uh, and I could pull that up, but
So that was fairly new, I believe, at that time. And that was kind of a breath of fresh air. But we were doing that on top of the regular wars. When I say regular war, I mean the league wars. So it was like that was just another weight on our shoulders, if you will. And we just burned ourselves out. So I mean, a good balance, I would say, certainly just do one and see how it goes. And don't jump into the deep end when people are saying how much fun it is. Let's do more. It's like, we should probably ground ourselves, because there might be a half dozen guys that are, they can do that no problem. But you maybe have 2 dozen players that are like, yeah, we're just doing it because you're asking us to. And
yeah, that's always like I mean, as you're talking, I mean, that's kind of unlocking memories and popping up so many questions and just kind of like scenarios and stuff too. And so I think about, oh, what are all the things that we've, seen in the past? What are those mistakes that happen when you're like, um, you hear about them. I think a lot of people could identify with it where like you come from a clan where you're with the transition between like a friend clan and, the politics of going then to a more serious clan, or kind of transitioning a clan. But I think like you go through these stages, or it seems to me like the same things come up over and over again, and it's
yeah,
always like, how do you navigate it, or how do you even at least try to identify like, okay, here are the things. This is kind of why it comes up, but here's how we can just keep it in a direction. Do you know what I'm? I don't know if that
yeah,
makes sense, but
no, I agree with you. I mean, if you look at El Reloaded, for example, and I just happened to glance at their clan when I came back, they're pretty much always 40 plus members. And they've always been that way. And, the whole time my dad was there as leader, and when we were doing all these competitive wars, and we had pulled, 3, 4, 5, 6 players from Reloaded as needed, but they didn't. They just played the game. And they didn't have the burnout that we did. They didn't lose members over time. They just always had a steady, and they just kept that easy going, House of L community going there. So I mean, props to I think it's Sleed or Sled was one of the leaders there. He took over when my dad passed, and they've done a great job running that clan.
Yeah, and we were even talking with them about like, okay, how do we do FCs and how do we like I approached them a couple times and then it's like, oh, Labor Day and these things are happening. And then it just occurred to me the other day, I'm like, well, we could just do things as one team, pull from, I could just say, hey, we're doing this event. Do you guys, want to come instead of like, doing things together because I think you're right. Like you're kind of saying too, like there's going to be people who want the one thing, but they just did what the clan should be doing and not necessarily what everybody
Yeah.
wants. That's what I'm getting from it.
No, I
Um,
think I think that you hit the nail on the head there, because like we at one point, we if you look through some of the Discord messages, we tried to do like a whole House of L restructuring. Like, there was a plan to shut L Relax down, and they move those players into House of L 2 and Reloaded, and try to funnel the best into House of L, and it just never happened because people that were in L Relax didn't want to leave. Same thing with Reloaded. It's like, they would come over and participate in an event,
yeah,
but like nobody was real fond of like, hey, we don't want you to be in that clan anymore, but we want you to be in this one instead. Yeah, I think that's fine to
yeah.
offer or ask, but like if you're telling them like you have to
Oh,
move,
I
I think
know.
that's where I think it went wrong.
I don't even know if I've ever like, kind of talked about it really before, but I think there's like a name problem like that always comes up too.
Yeah, there was
Like
House of L 2 had a big falling out, and there was Jabronis was one of the guys that was there at the time, but there was a half dozen guys there that had no interest of going to House of L. They had an identity with House of L too,
yeah,
and they ended up leaving over it.
and
They
that wasn't the first time, because it's like no matter what happened, no matter what happens, it seems like the idea of a feeder clan always exists. Between
Yep,
L2 and L2 was created like to kind of be a farming clan, right? Which they
yep,
always started as like farming clans, mailman. Um, and then you kind of face a point where a clan either becomes gets its own culture,
yep.
right? Like if it gets its own culture, then all bets are off after that point because not in a bad way, but like it's either an event clan, but if an event clan gets its own culture, it becomes its own clan. And
And
so
that's
like
really what's happened with L Reloaded. L Reloaded has its own identity, its own
yeah,
culture, and
it
and it has a name that lends itself to that. I mean, you can look at L Reloaded if you don't know anything about the House of L family. You might think that's just like a Spanish clan. It's the
I know,
Reloaded.
right? Yeah.
So
We're the pronoun clan.
yeah.
The Spanish pronouns. La
But House of
House
L
of Law.
2 always has that identity problem where, it's kind of labeled as a feeder clan the way that it's named.
And there was never anything that could be said to change. It is just like almost like inherent in the structure of it. You know what I mean? Like if there was a way to get things to people to think about it in a different way, I would do it. But I've tried so many things. So it's like, though, yeah, those kind of problems come up when you're moving around, and then if you've got people in that have their own culture, to be even thought of as a feeder clan by people who don't know it, like or people treat it different, right? Like maybe from outside if they think it's a feeder clan or that it's a stepping stone to a
Hmm.
different clan. And it was never meant to be that. It never was really ran that way as far as, like I know like when we talk about moving around, like even now and thinking like maybe the 14s, the lower town halls would work better over here or, um, whatnot, but it's always like that. It's just tough, like just inherent in the whole inside, like the whole thing. I don't know
Yeah,
if
and,
I'm
I think you and Tip hit on it on a previous episode, but yeah, I think that's the feature that I've wanted my entire time playing Clash is more community based features. So like a clan family chat or being able to somehow attach clans to each other actually within the game. So maybe you hold on to your rank if you go from one clan to the next clan.
yeah.
However that works out, whatever they decide to do, I think that's a huge gap that they have not filled, and I think being able to tag people was a start.
Right, right.
In the clan chat, that was I saw that, man. That was like that's awesome.
Yeah.
But
Oh man,
like I could have used that
that's
so many times.
oh. I mean, if you even if you can eliminate a lot of the other tools you even had to use. Like
Oh yeah, I
using the
mean,
thumbs up this message, like if you want, in CWL, or if you want to be on the bench, or
oh yeah, I mean the reactions. I mean, we had to use Google Forms on Discord and email it to somebody or message it on Discord to get them to sign up. You couldn't just thumbs up to them. You could thumbs up in Discord, but you couldn't in game.
yeah, just that makes things so much smoother.
So like
Oh,
that was even a big topic of contention, if you will, was like, if a player joins L, do they have to be on Discord? And because there was at least lack of features in the game, a lot of especially when we were doing these leagues, we're like, yeah, you have to be in Discord. If we can't get a hold of you, how can you be relied on?
and now, we were right at that turning point, kind of in August, and because I don't, like that's the thing, like with the game, you can burn out very easily. You can do it as much as you want. You can be watching everything. You can, like you said, be doing all those leagues. And I think, like, for one, I think it's an awesome idea to be taking, breaks between the leagues, kind of like, normal sports do, right? Like
Oh
there's
yeah.
an off season of the stuff. So it can be overwhelming, and so it's like, uh, at first, like I didn't really want to be back on Discord, but then we start getting into CWL stuff and organizing more, and the clan's getting bigger, and it's like, well, now we can use these tools to do this, and we kind of were like, okay, let's get on Discord, and then those reactions came in, and then all of a sudden it wasn't as important for people to get on because somebody who doesn't have Discord can thumbs up that message.
Oh
And
yeah.
so
Yeah,
so
that's
it
huge.
kind of halted like a lot of that like trend, and then but people who want to be on it um can be.
Yeah, I mean, it is nice. Like I've seen some channels on there, and we've had channels like that in the past where you post attack strategy videos. So like being able to compile information on the server is huge, but not needing to have each member be part of the server,
Yeah.
is a great benefit.
When we tried that with Line, I think we tried that with TeamSpeak.
Yeah.
Back I'm just yeah, it's like I'm thinking about like what are some common threads that what I've been thinking about with things is what's kind of naturally happened. I've noticed now, maybe not naturally, I guess, but Supercell almost they have that calendar of events, right? Like throughout, you've got CWL in the beginning, you've got clan games, and you've got these things.
And
And so I'm really kind of starting to think about, okay, so you don't want people like burning out, running multiple counts in wars, um, just so you have numbers in enough places, but you also want everybody that wants to war, wants their other accounts, you know, to war or to do stuff. So it's like, how do you strike that balance? And I'm starting to think about it as I think about this even more as we're talking, about kind of utilizing that supercell calendar structure a little bit more, and just saying like, Here's CWL. Here's this. Maybe on the third weekend or where there's a gap, trying to do something um, to give more opportunities, but not to be like, you have to live or die on it, and you have to uh, and it can be fun. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not.
Yeah.
I just don't want to burden anybody with it, and it's just a lot of work, and you want it to be sustainable too, I guess, is
Oh
maybe
yeah.
what
Yeah.
I'm
You definitely,
thinking about.
that's the key. I mean, as far as minis go, I mean, I would, you know, I have a mini. I've been starting to play a little bit more. I think most people can probably play two accounts pretty easily. Yeah, I had at one point, I think 7 or 8 accounts. I have all of those in a league war. That's like,
Whoa.
that
Well, yeah,
was
I was talking with Tip. I'm like, you do legend leagues, let's say for one account, and even just with a 3 minute timer, that's like half an hour, right back to
oh
back
yeah,
to back. But you have to train troops and you have to do so it takes a lot of time to do that stuff. Um, so yeah, it's like how do you? Uh, I think it's hard to navigate that place in growth where it's like I
yeah. I
think
think it's definitely a balance, and it's even more so a balance to try to slow down some of the people that want to take it. Because some people, they just love it. They just absorb it all.
yep,
And they just want to go 100 miles an hour, but not everybody wants to go 100 miles an hour. Some people want to coast at 40, 50.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Yeah, and it's finding that, and I think what you put really well, it's almost is is for the clan to be the clan and to kind of do what the clan. Uh, if you stay true to the clan, um, those players are gonna the players that are gonna go too fast, or really want something else, um, will find that. But like staying true to the clan is just probably the most important thing because that's when it gets seems to get lost
yeah,
a little bit maybe if I'm putting together memories in the past of things that have kind of occurred like because it is speeds of like and I think like when I think back and I remember saying this to Tip like um I wasn't sure like back in the day if I was holding L back in a lot of ways, right? Because there was a lot of times where there were people um rightly so who hey, let's, go forward really strong. Um but it but in some time and this is not in any bad way am I saying this or anything because this is just like leadership conversations like way back in the day.
it,
Um that I guess where was I going with that? That really just wanted to go ahead, but that would have meant, you know, dividing clans majorly, or there were things like that in as well, where it was like, okay, let's move people from L2 to here, and it's like, um, you really just can't mess with cultures, and you can't. It is not as simple as like things on paper, and
yep,
um, so I think the heart of things is really important, I guess.
yeah,
So
yeah. I
you,
think the Supercell CWL is it's a breath of fresh air, honestly, compared to the player organized stuff. You don't got to do the spreadsheets. You don't got to talk to this other clan leader like at all.
yeah, and I think that's
It's
where I departed on it, like was because maybe like doing the podcast, I kind of always lived like in that place where people were debating it, and we talk about it, um,
Mhm.
about war stuff, but like I had no interest in doing the actual math or setting that stuff up, and it felt like a lot of times it got really political,
Yeah,
just. And so I think like that CW coming back into the game and seeing that, I felt like, oh, because people were still talking about CWL, but at first I thought it was that old one.
I hate it.
Um, and then seeing that, I was like, okay, this is, I like this because it's like, Supercell
Yeah,
supervised, I guess.
it's more fun slash casual. You don't have all the prep work that goes into it.
Or like you wouldn't, a war is going to be starting or people sign up, and it never failed that like, okay, we signed up for this, and then 2 or 3 days before, or we were talking, there was something happen. We don't know if
Oh
this
yeah,
is going to happen or this is, this
somebody didn't
person.
show up, and now you're trying to find a backup all of a sudden, and then,
Yeah.
then you got to get the backup approved by the admins, and
Yeah, and or something in a
but if,
different clan, and I was just like, I just, um, I, I like now that it's more on merit, Okay, that sounded
yeah,
wrong. That sounded wrong. Um, I like that it's just a little bit free from more human hands, I guess,
yeah,
sometimes. So how are you finding the game now that you're back?
yeah, I'm enjoying it. I found some attacks that seem to be clicking with a little bit. Like
What
started
was
doing that. I guess people were calling it a spirit walk. I was calling it an invisible walk, but
mm, yeah.
but the electro boots, but the spear and the royal champion, the RC, getting a lot of value into that with 5 to 7 invisibility spells, but then coming in with
You're doing
dragons.
five
I've
to
been
seven.
yeah.
What are you using
Oh,
for your equipment?
so I got the spear, the rocket spear, and the electro boots on the royal champion, and I've been
Okay.
saving the spear for like the back end. So like I won't use the ability during the walk unless I mess up. But and
Yeah,
then
that's
for
oh,
for the
panic button.
warden, yeah, panic button exactly. For the warden, I've been using the fireball with like the original I forget what it's called, like the invincibility tone. When you
Okay,
hit the
yeah.
button and your troops are
Yep.
invincible for 10 seconds or whatever it is.
Yep.
So I've been using that. And then on the Archer Queen, I've been using the mirror, which just seems like a souped up version of the original ability almost. The magic
Y-
mirror, the clone
You,
mirror.
yeah. Where do you got it at? Do you have one clone or do you have two?
I got 3 clones, so it's
Oh yeah.
level,
Okay.
like, 20 or 20, I think it's 20. I think you
Okay.
get 3 clones at level 18.
I love it.
Yeah,
It's
so
it's
I've been,
like what the queen should have been the entire time, I think.
oh, yeah, I mean, it's just massive amount of damage that, she can crank out there, and it also helps with funneling because, like, a clone will, like, take out the building next to where your queen would be shooting.
Yeah.
So you can take out 2, sometimes 3 buildings in the same time span that, she'd take out 1. So that's been amazing, and then I've been using the pocket healers
Oh yeah. Yeah.
with that, where
Yeah.
the 2 or 3 I think it's 3 healers pop out.
God, if we could have showed this to ourselves like 10 years ago, we'd be just
Oh yeah, I mean,
pumped.
that's like 40 something clan space or whatever, or troop space.
Yeah.
That's like a quarter of your army that you got a queen walk in your pocket.
What do you think?
So that,
Oh, sorry, keep going.
I was gonna say to move on to the king. I've been using the earthquake boots. I've been really enjoying because it opens up the walls and he can go in and take out whatever's behind it. Whether it's a inferno or whatever. So air attacks, it's not as critical, but I've still been using it just because he can get a little more penetration into the base. Yeah, because dragons, you may take out
Y-
the perimeter building, but if you still have some things kind of like in that first layer of walls, the dragons still might want to wrap around.
Yeah.
So the king, with the earthquake boots, I can make sure he gets a real solid funnel on his own side. And then his second ability or equipment is that ball, the spiky
Oh
ball.
yeah,
That
spiky
thing,
ball.
that thing is awesome.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I love it.
I got that thing up to like it was the first equipment I upgraded, and I
It'd
think
be
it's
hard.
23 or 24 or something like that.
I say this now, right? It will be hard to imagine not using it one day. but I bet it would have to be some great equipment to replace that. But I bet there
Oh
will be
yeah,
something one day because that's a nice piece of equipment for sure.
but he's just like a definite funnel. So I can just drop him, hit the ability in between the earthquake boots and the spiky ball. It just like nukes that whole 15% of the base over there.
And you send him at the town hall. Is that what,
Occasionally. So
or just the funnel?
my strategy here in Legends League so far that's been working out. Not all the time. I probably get 3, sometimes 4 triples a day so far. But I'm attacking Town Hall 17s for the most part. I'm still a
So,
16.
so you're running about the same I'm running
Yeah,
in Legends League.
but I'll send in the Royal Champions Spirit Walk on the opposite side of the Town Hall. And usually I can take out, an air defense or 2, the Eagle Artillery, and I really try to get that I forget the name of it, the new tower defense, that
Oh,
purplish looking
monolith,
tower. Yeah, that thing just like
monolith.
melts your king.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah,
kill you in like 3 hits.
yeah.
So,
Isn't it
I have
weird?
the hardest time seeing that on the map. I don't know
I
what it
know.
is.
Uh
I
huh.
will scan that map for like 20 of my 30 seconds just looking for the monolith.
That happens with the fire spitters. That's been like the hardest part, I think. Is like when you get to like the new town hall level, or just even with the new troop levels. But I don't know. I feel like, especially like coming back to the game, it's like, what, just being able to see it on the board the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't. Where the hell is that thing? Where the hell is that thing? I don't know where it's at.
It's not like an eagle artillery, which sticks out like a sore
Yeah,
thumb.
exactly.
This big white eagle.
Yeah,
But,
it's like a little gem bush or something hidden somewhere.
yeah.
Um,
So
yeah, and
I get pretty good, penetration with the Royal Champion Spirit Walk on the opposite side of the town hall. And then on the town hall side, like I said, I'll drop a king on kind of one corner to create a funnel, and I'll use my queen on the other side. So I'm funneling with the king and queen. And then I send in 10 dragons and 4 of the dragon riders with the warden straight at the town hall with like 2 rages. And I've been taking a freeze. I was taking poison. That's why I think I get better value out of a freeze because I can freeze a blower if it happens to be blowing against the town hall.
okay,
So I'll just double rage, bleeding into the base, take out the town hall. And usually if you get, all 10 dragons over top of the town hall, it really doesn't matter if it has that invisibility spell or not, because the dragons will still be in that general location because they're so slow. Once
yeah.
the invisibility, wears off.
I
So
just
that'll push through about half the base. And usually my queen, if she doesn't run up against the giant cannon thing, so I usually stay alive and just walk around the base. And then I use a recall. I forgot to say that part, but I recall the Royal Champion right before my last invisibility spell ran out. So I will
how long is
redeploy
that after 7 of them? Is that like a minute in?
pretty close. I
Okay,
don't think my invisibilities are completely maxed out yet. So I think I'm counting the 3 Mississippi by the time I drop the next one.
okay, okay,
But yeah, so that's like 30 seconds or so.
okay.
So I'll redeploy her, and I would try if my queen's still alive, I'll drop her behind my queen, and then I trigger the ability to take out anything that may kill my queen with the rocket spears.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'll just kind of scan the base and see, like, is there an air defense that I left up that may kill my dragons towards the end of the base if they're still alive. So then I kind of use a strategy there to determine where I should drop the Royal Champion. And then if for whatever reason my dragons do like pass the town hall because of invisibility spell,
Yeah.
I have that option in my pocket to drop the Royal Champion back by the town hall and use the rocket spear and still get that second star or third star if it's the last thing up. So it's been a pretty safe 2 star. I haven't been getting a ton of 1 stars because of a trapped town hall. Because I still have that ability with the Royal Champion to throw at it.
Are you doing the this is the problem I'm kind of running into, and maybe into War and in Legends League. I feel like so in CWL we were trying to do the go for the 2-star, favor the 2-star over the 3.
Mhm.
Then we go into regular War, and I go into Legends League, and I go into Legend and War and hit, and I feel like I fail the most when I go for the 2-star strategy. Like kind of switching back into that mentality of like, okay, you're gonna you'll take it probably. You're more likely to take it the 3 if you do it this way. Um, I guess favoring that approach, switching back between the approaches of hitting like all or nothing. Do you get what I mean on that? I guess I'm.
Yeah, yeah, I think I know what you mean. Like, me being a Town Hall 16 and hitting 17s almost exclusively, I feel like if I don't go in a with a plan of at least getting 2, I'll end up getting 1
Okay.
just
It'll
because
just
I don't
finish
have
just a little bit short.
yeah. So I'd rather get a 80-90% a 2-star than a 90% 1-star. so
Yeah.
so
I f-
I found that if I go the other way around and I send the world champion like at the town hall and maybe she can't get it, or maybe she just, weakens the defenses all around it. I find that if I send the dragons in on the opposite side now with my heroes funneling, I won't make it to the town hall sometimes.
yeah.
And I think you get an extra dragon level at town hall 17. So maybe that would be that difference. If I was a town hall 17, I might be able to get that 100%.
Yeah, I guess for me it's just like thinking like I'm if I hit the base this way, I'm going to probably get a 2-star 50%. And if I hit it from this way, I'm going to hit a really most likely hit the 2 but have a better chance at the 3, right? But then I end up kind of defaulting to the safer bet where I should probably be gambling a little bit more on it. Do you know what I mean? Because CWL is like, hey, we've got to make sure we're getting these stars. So I
Yeah.
feel like I'm kind of, uh,
Taking a safer swing.
yeah, like, I'm starting to wonder, like, is that always the best route for me? Should I even be practicing the safer route sometimes?
And that's an extra element of strategy that the Supercell CWL has is you only have one attack.
Yeah,
So like if you screw up and get 1 star, that no one can help you fix that.
yeah, yeah.
At least with the regular wars, you got 2 wars, or 2
So
attacks. So
yeah, yeah, that's the thing, right? And maybe it's just like believing in yourself enough to be like, hey, I get it. I guess knowing whether how confident, maybe it's just how confident I am in a 3 versus
2.
2-star, or when you should do it, even like in these higher stakes things. Um, I don't know. A couple of these attacks lately, I've been looking at it going, I should have hit it this way. If I would have just hit it this way, um, I would have got. I would have. I should have got it that way. You know what I mean? But I had to play it safe, so I had to go the one way, which just ends up completely tying your hands.
I think a lot of it depends too is on how well is the other clan doing, because like some of these clans come out and like if I recall, all hell's been on the top of our map several times in these wars, and they come out swinging and triple our #1 base like right away.
Yeah,
So like
yeah,
if they're setting that standard that they can triple any of our 17s, like you kind of got to have that mentality. Like I have to triple them too.
yeah, and then play it a little bit more safe. Well, but even then, right? Like maybe it's just the difference between regular war and CWL now, because it's like if they come out and hit our #1 for 3 stars and it's their #4 or whatever kind of or just right off the bat, right? 3-star. It's almost like might as well just go for it then
Yeah, like at that point
because we're in
you have
3-star
to.
game.
Yeah.
like it's 3 or nothing.
It's like they set the playing field. It's like you got to answer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I guess like moving into Legends for the first time and then in kind of playing the trophy game really maybe for the first time in my Clash career. And
Yeah.
then CWL and stuff, it's switching approaches. And that was something I don't remember having to deal with.
Oh yeah, and
Um,
I just recently hit Legends for this is the first time I've been there, and the whole time I played and it's been out, and
Me too.
my
Yeah,
my
that's cool.
wife was laughing at it. She's like, "What are you smiling about? What are you giggling about?" Like I showed her a picture of my phone. I was like, "I got this purple badge here." I was like, "You're gonna think it's silly." She just thinks it's a silly game. So like I've been playing this game for like 10 years, and I've never had this many trophies before. Never been
That's
in Legends
cool.
League.
I, you know, I heard about it. I thought, how much fun could it be? I'm really enjoying it. I do wish I
Yeah,
had more attacks, or I wish at like at the point of the day where you're just like you got your attacks in. I think maybe one thing Supercell could do would be like, here's the pool. You know, hit you can still hit, but it won't count for your trophy, and then that way anybody who misses attacks, like they could fill in those attacks with those hits. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So you wouldn't get missed attacks. I
Um,
mean, that would be horrible
Otherwise
for me.
you gotta
And
jump
I'm
on your
saying this,
mini.
yeah. Well, this is horrible for me. Like if I, but like, yeah. So I get done and I hit, and then that way at the end of the Legends day, like it could have come from a pool, and if somebody doesn't use their hit that was supposed to hit that, it could be filled. I guess. Does that make
Yeah,
sense to you?
yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, am I explaining right?
Yeah, I've been
Um,
really enjoying the game since I came back. Especially all these new attack strategies and being in Legends. I think has drove my interest up more because when I was at Town Hall 15 playing just a few months ago, I was just doing like goblins, like, and I discovered the super goblin. I was like, well, this is way better than the regular goblin. So
yeah.
I started doing just like mass
This
super
is
goblins,
awesome.
and oh yeah, I mean, like if I had that back in the day, it would be so easy to farm. But like the super goblins are invisible, like for the first few seconds,
Yeah.
and yeah, I was able to take those down like in silver league and gold league, and just get like 2 million gold at one attack. It felt like, and but that wasn't really helping my attack team. Like I wasn't learning an offensive attack. I was just farming.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like I'm still getting enough loot in Legends League to continue to upgrade as a Town Hall 16. So,
It it really seems to balance out with that was the one thing I was afraid of. Um this I'm only the first time where I'm like, God, I wish I could farm a little bit more DE. Um but yeah, I agree. It's like it's kind of seems like they just tipped that whole game that way. Um you have problems getting your attacks like is it too many, too little?
I don't think it's too many. I'd like to see it increase, like you said. The problem that I have with it is the timing. So, and I don't know if it's because of my time zone or how my account's set up or what, but like my Legends League day ends like right about now, sometime between 10 and 11 o'clock at night. But my 3-star, or the daily bonus for getting, what is it, 5 or 6 stars,
Yeah.
that doesn't start until, like, 5 o'clock. So it's probably just me, but I feel like I have to do all 8 of my attacks, or at least 5 of them, to make sure I get the 5 stars that I need. If I mess up bad,
Oh, I
I
think
feel like
what
I have to get the majority of my attacks done between, like, 5 and 10 o'clock at night. So, like, during the day, I feel like I, like, shouldn't
oh
attack.
no, you know what? If you miss one, right? If you miss a day, you have like that grace day or whatever. So like you could just wait those couple hours and just do the first one that like they stack up. Like you have a 2 day.
Yeah, so then you could do 2 in a row.
So
Yeah.
what happens I think with this was is that if you miss your star bonus, it's probably when you first like hit attack, that's when your star bonus started, or when you finished your first one after coming back.
So that
Does,
probably makes sense.
so what was the biggest best change?
In the game right now,
Yeah, well, when you came back, like, what's your
so I'm
standout?
really enjoying, discovering all these new troops. Like there's still troops I haven't used. Like I have not used a root rider.
Ooh, okay.
I've tried to use druids, but then like right when I started to look at it, I saw online that they got nerfed. And I was like, well, it's probably a bad time to start using them.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they just released the throwers, which kind of reminded me of a bowler
Yeah.
in a way. And
I
then like I
I
like
want
I
to make
mentioned,
those work.
there's probably still half the super troops I don't think I've used. Like I've used super barbarians here or there, just as kind of acting like a giant. It's a little tankier barbarian.
Yeah.
Super wall breakers I've discovered are just awesome. It's like a cheat code. That used to be like
Right.
such a skill that you had to work on. Like we used to
I
do
just
like
I'm
when friendly battles came out, like we would just sit there and practice like deploying wall breakers and just like in the battle. Let's do it
uh,
again. Like let me
uh,
practice my entrance here of my wall breakers.
I was so bad at it that my my wall breakers are still under leveled because I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna use them. So
Yeah, I mean, 'cause you could just you get hit by a cannon, and then you
yeah,
get the splash from a mortar, and they were gone.
I cannot tell if my attack relied on a wall breaker, it was doomed. And almost all those attack strategies back in the day required wall breakers.
Oh yeah, or you had to
And
take a jump spell, then you're missing out on a rage or something else. So
and in the end, I ended up just I think most of the time ended up with the jump, if I remember right, because it was always the wall breaker that got me.
I got
So
pretty good at it, but I would go back and forth. Like if I only needed to break through, one, maybe two walls to get pretty deep into the base, I take wall breakers. But if I could get like excellent value out of a jump, like get into like three compartments with a jump,
yeah,
then I'd definitely take a jump. Because you're getting a lot more value out of it then.
it's just like it's just a more certainty for me to get in with those. Um,
Yeah, but discovering all these new troops, and then there's still like I mentioned, half the super troops I haven't even used yet. So there's just so much like strategy that may or may not work. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of players that have been figuring out what works and what don't. But I'm having a lot of fun just playing with it, and I feel like it's a kind of like the 10 years ago when I was watching Jacob on One Hive on YouTube. It's like I found myself Googling or searching on YouTube, Town Hall 15 attack strategies, Town Hall 16 attack
oh, that's
strategies.
cool.
Now, I haven't done that since, before COVID, certainly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it makes it I don't know. I feel like you're getting more of the war experience. Definitely. I mean, you can FC, you can do all this stuff like just from the beginning. Um, but it gives you kind of everybody, I think, a little bit more of the same or the ability to do that more, right? Like instead of just watching attacks on YouTube for a week and then and like you get like one or two wars to practice it. You can really like beef up your skills, and I like that they've um, kind of leaned into that more.
yeah.
Um, and then for me too, like switching over to like that regular army that instead of a farming army, just hitting with regular troops has
Oh, yeah,
been
that's been huge. Since I entered Legend League, I've definitely been enjoying the game more. It's like doing 8 war attacks a day.
yeah. I was just saying like it's like my own little private war every
Yeah.
day. Everybody can see my can see my results, I guess, but like it's just mine to do. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I was
yeah.
looking at the Discord earlier today. Some of these bots that we have on the server, Clash King, and some of these statistics are really cool. I mean, a lot of that wasn't around. Some of it was like I had wrote an app at one point for House of L. Yeah, Mer could probably talk about that a little bit. But yeah, I coded an app that worked on Android.
Really?
Yeah, just as a hobby, and trying to make it work. I'm an engineer. I'm a nerd when it comes to numbers.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, I had my own little app, and then yeah, I mentioned the War Match earlier. I was an admin for the War Match community as well. So that was a bot and a website, and you could track your war in real time on the website. You could claim bases. That was before you could claim bases in Clash of Clans. You would claim it with War Match.
And that was like at the what is that? Clash Caller was kind of the first
Yeah,
around,
Clash Caller was
but that
one.
was a whole different. That was like serious, right? The one that you're talking about. Clash Caller was just
Yeah,
like you called your base, but I know
yeah, that was
War
like a
Match was like
yeah, War Match was a
was
fully functional
big.
Discord bot and website, and the
It,
website and the bot talk to each other.
yeah, I remember
And
talking about switching to that.
it was
I
neat.
think we
Yeah,
did.
I was one of the administrators. If you went to the War Match server and had an issue, it was me and two other guys that would solve everybody's problems.
Really?
So, yeah, I wasn't a developer on it, but we had administrator rights. Me and a couple other guys in there to help with JV, the guy that designed it. He was the developer.
Oh,
But
cool.
and then I'll let the cat out of the bag now since it's been 5+ years now. But like I worked with the admins for the CWL league at the time
Did you?
to catch people that were botting modders.
Oh, wow.
So they had their own list of like people that were known modders, and because the way War Match worked, if you wanted the app to like track your stats on all of your accounts, you had to like do a claim, like you would post in your player tag and claim it with the bot or claim it with the website.
So that
So they would reach out to me and be like, "Oh, we busted, player XYZ. Yeah, we found out they were modding and they're banned. Can you tell us all their other accounts?" So
Oh,
so
so
I
all the other
so
ones they claimed.
yeah, so I would look in there and like, yeah, I didn't like cheaters either. So I was like, yeah, I'll rattle out for you.
Yeah.
So I would give them the fan tag, like, oh, so player XYZ also has, this account, this account,
Yeah.
this account, and this account. And then all of a sudden they get all got, all of the accounts got banned.
Were you
I
ever,
worked with them for several months doing that.
were you ever anything like surprising or like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you don't
Like
want to
certain
talk about it.
players.
Yeah. Was there anything like, sure, you don't even have to talk, like say, names or anything, but like,
Yeah, I mean, there were some certain players, like, I couldn't think of their names now, but there was definitely, like, shocking players, like, that were, well known that were, banned from CWL, and,
you're like, oh
I
shit.
and I, was, helped to uncover their mini accounts, or, accounts
Yeah.
maybe they were sharing with other players too, because, if this was before they had the Supercell ID, yeah, you could
Yeah.
claim an account with, like, a Google account or an iOS account.
Yeah. And like, and that was important too because
Yeah.
like this is like back then this is where people were kind of ruining competitions with this stuff.
Oh,
Like
yeah, I mean,
it's
like, there was a CWL season where they flew, like, the finalists out to Helsinki for the Supercell, like, headquarters. They, like, streamed it. It's like the year or 2 before the Supercell CWL came out, like, Supercell kind of sponsored the Players CWL Champion Tour League. So,
yeah,
like, it was a big deal, and, like, Supercell took notice, and I think that that's a big reason why they created the CWL as we have it today, the Supercell CWL.
yeah, and even Harold's back to the name, and I think that's as we're talking about this, I think about that like that was like one of the frustrations that plagued a little bit more. Like we we don't talk about that kind of stuff as much on the podcast anymore because um it was a big issue back in the day.
Oh
Um
yeah, I mean, I never partook in it, but I was told how it worked, and you could
yeah,
like record your taps or whatever. Then they would just like push a button, it would like play the taps back. So like they would
yeah,
basically just like play the game on like a sandbox server.
yeah.
So they would like triple, do the attack 3 times in a row until they triple it all 3 times. And then they would like record the taps and then go into the game and then just push play and it would just
Really.
re-tap it.
I just remember it was at one point, and I think a little bit of the burnout at the time too was that just it being overwhelming in the game. It just at a certain point, I can't remember when it was, but just where it was, it, it it was like, is Supercell doing anything about it? Where or it was like, do you have to do it to? Is it going to be fun anymore? You know, if you're not doing that stuff, like,
Yeah, they,
um,
they did start cracking down on it. I mean,
yeah,
Supercell started banning accounts and but it was like they couldn't stop it from happening.
yeah, yeah.
They
It's
got
everybody.
better at detecting it.
Yeah, and there's always somebody like one step above, or you'd hear about something new, and it's just like, yeah, could they ever just keep up at least with the problem instead of like lagging behind a little bit? You know what I mean? Like it just felt like it was kind of waiting, but yeah, coming back, it's like, I'm sure there's stuff going on, but it's not
Yeah,
like,
I haven't heard anything about it, so I don't know if that's
yeah,
still an
I
issue
mean,
now or not.
yeah, and I guess that's the point of it, right? Like, I don't hear much about anything like that, so,
Yeah,
yeah, I like that CWL thing, but
but yeah,
what?
War Match was a a big part of my life back in the House of L days too. That was that had its perks too. If something went wrong with L's War Match, I fixed it right away. So
Yeah, nice, nice, nice. That's cool. Yeah,
and
I
I
gotta.
got like a discount on occasion, because there was a subscription for it too. That's how the guy that was developing it made money.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't much. It was like you had to join his Patreon for like $1 a month or something. But I mean, at one point, like he was making like, $10,000 a month or more developing that app just based on the number of subscribers that he had to his Patreon.
What was his name?
His name was JV. And yeah, I just talked to him through Discord, didn't know him in person. And yeah, shout out to JV if he ever listens to this. Yeah, he was a great guy, but yeah, he used to play Clash. Him and his clan developed War Match, to solve the problem that they had with their clan with not being able to call
Yeah,
bases in the game, and that's really where it rooted from. But he had long quit the game. Like, he probably quit the game in like 2017, 2018, but he kept like developing the app because basically he was getting paid for it through Patreon.
I th- I think
And
he.
then he basically disappeared, and then the app just, Discord put
Well,
out some API updates and things for bots, and the bot quit working, and
I
it
think
just
he did.
basically fell out.
I think he did an episode of the Clash Files podcast
He
where
may have.
it was one. I just remember. I think it was. If I'm remembering correctly, like, I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And he had a great app, and kudos to him for supporting it as long as he did, even though he wasn't playing Clash anymore.
That's cool, man. It's just wild, like all the history here. Like it really, even thinking like, um, the world of one hives, and I remember your name from before, um, you were part of L, and it's just it's like really helping me like solidify. It's really kind of cool to hear about this stuff too. Um, especially the awards stuff, or not especially the awards stuff, but like, um, just knowing hearing about the successes of L, like,
Yeah,
is pretty
yeah. I mean,
cool.
we had a blast. I mean, I have lots of fond memories of being on. You know, Discord voice with the guys,
Yeah.
during attacks, and I like the experience that again, but definitely don't want to you know have the burnout that we had
Yeah, it's a
doing it for so long. But it's definitely a neat aspect of the game.
and I think there's balance in all that stuff. And I think, I think this is a good conversation on that too, because it's just like it came up, these conversations keep coming up in the clan, and it just kind of seems like everything's kind of um it's a good time to talk about it, I think. As
Yeah,
we're kind of thinking about the next steps of L, um and kind of, I think, for other people out there who are kind of looking at other clans, and kind of thinking about their um clan leadership, and maybe if they're running into some of the similar issues, and um
yeah.
yeah, it's something to keep talking about.
I
You
mean
want to
the player organized stuff. I mean that it took a lot of time. It's looking at
yeah,
those spreadsheets, and like I can distinctly remember even like when my children were born, like laying on the we don't get to sleep on the comfy bed when you're waiting at the hospital. You get the little couch.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I remember laying on that uncomfortable little couch in the hospital room, when my kids were being born. Not while they're getting born, afterwards, beforehand,
I
you
made
know.
her wait. I made her wait. Hold it. Hold
pulling
it.
Google Sheets up on my phone, like I got to figure out these war weights for the clan. Yeah, there were some of the guys reaching out to me like, oh, we can do this for you. I was like, oh, I don't mind it. That's the thought. But
I think I remember you doing some stuff. I was in L2 a lot after I would kind of moved over there to be less
yeah,
serious, I think. Because I was looking back through my Clash stats, and I'm like, I was in House of L for L2, but then I remember I was like doing stuff, and so there's a lot of stuff that I like maybe remember, but I maybe wasn't a part of, but now that I'm hearing about it. Um, well, should we wrap up and do some shout outs?
yeah,
Or is there
yeah.
anything we didn't get to that you
No, I think we covered the bulk of what I had written down to talk about.
God, yeah.
Um,
It just is like I am seriously gonna be just fried after this, because like even thinking about, like, as you're talking about that, I'm thinking, oh, there's Tate from One Hive, oh, there's Saturday Night Hive.
oh yeah,
Like all these different things just keep popping into my head of, oh yeah, and this person and this person and this person. Oh yeah, you mentioned this, and yeah, it's just a lot of memories for sure.
yeah. Yeah, shout out to my, certainly to my wife for putting up with my Clash of Clans habit, over for the last 10 years. Shout out to, the guys at El Aussie. He dragged me back into Clash, a few months ago. And he mentioned that the
did
clan was kind of revived, and
did he tell you what
yeah,
happened?
no, he just told me that, the clan was kind of back up and running, that you were back playing again, and that, he was having fun and
He
thought that I
said
would too.
he he popped up one day in clan chat. He said, "Holy shit," or it was something like that. Uh, he said it was like, "Holy shit, why haven't you guys kicked me?" or something. And I go, "Oh, oh, there you are. We've been waiting for you," or exactly on time. We knew you were going to show up. And he's like, and I just played it off like you were supposed to be here right now. Um, or we were just waiting for you. It was, I couldn't have, I just butchered the joke again. No, I'm trying to recount it. Damn it.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah, it was funny. Yeah. And I kind of told Shane on chat too that Shane came back and Oz came back. Um, I had learned my lesson from GCBC, who came in and just was like, "Hey, want to jump in?" And I know how it was for me coming back in, where it was
Right.
let me dip my toe in the water and see what I'm thinking, so I wasn't like, hey, what you doing? Get over here. Hop in this
Yeah,
war
no,
setup.
I've been enjoying the time I've been back, and it's been good. But yeah, shout out to the Aussie. Some of the old guys, Blue Eyed Dragon, D Rock, uh, Bama, Bama. If you're out there listening,
Blue-eyed dragon. I
yeah, Blue Eyed
I know
Dragon was
blue-eyed dragon.
he was a real big help. I'm not sure if he's playing these days or not. Blah. I talked to Blah on Discord the other day.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, Mo Killer. He was a big help. Back in the war days. There's a lot of names. Dirty Pirate. The help that he
Yeah.
gave us.
Yeah, man. I talk to him or chat with her, text him sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm sure I missed 2 dozen names there, but it's good to be back clashing again, and I think I'll be around for a little while longer. I'm having fun.
That's awesome. Um, and I think one of my shout outs uh this week is to you actually, um, for coming on uh for one of the things that was really cool to me when I was coming back in and in the Discord, got back in the Discord and stuff, was to see the House of L Constitution and to see the stuff that was in there. And it was a direct reflection, I thought, of the House of L. And that was a really cool thing to see because it's the vibe or the culture, um and it's hard to explain because every clan kind of has its spirit, I think, right?
Hmm.
um but it was cool to see that it continued on, like that it not that I thought it was going to go away, but that like the vision was still there. um and even like stepping away and stuff wasn't like, you know, it was always in good hands, like kind of thing. Like, and that kind of made like the burnout all right for me, right? That I like trusted everybody to,
Yeah, I mean it's amazing that the clan that you started 10
yeah,
plus years ago is still there. I mean that's a
yeah,
big deal.
yeah. It's just really cool to see it that way. Uh, and I look forward to what it becomes. I mean, it's kind of a story, and that was I want to talk to you so bad since the beginning. Um, about this and kind of just put more of the picture together. Because, like I said, it was like all these giants are sleeping in the chat. The clan capital isn't built yet, and um, it was like, ooh, what happened here? So it's fine. It's cool to put pieces together. So,
Yeah, it's been great. I appreciate it.
um, big shout out to House of L, the clan, Ahel for his endless jokes that kill me every time. Uh, and a lot more. I've got another interview coming up very soon, and so it may be a double episode week. I'm not sure. Um, but you can get a hold of us, Clash Clans Podcast at gmail.com and clashclanspodcast.com. I got to do just a one big shout out episode. I say this every time too, but do you have any contact information or just House of L or anything you want to point people to?
Yeah, I mean just the House of L Discord, you can really find me there. I'm still in like 45 league Discord server
Are you?
over the years. Yeah, my Discord's kind of atrocious, the number of
Oh,
servers that I'm in. But
yeah, the notifications can get overwhelming, I imagine.
oh yeah,
Seeing it. Oh,
but yeah, just the House of L Discord. You guys can find me there or in our clan House of L.
cool, man. Well, until next time, keep it clashy.
Keep it clashy.
skilly beep 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 skilly beep.